A few weeks ago, I was scrolling through my drawer of phones. You know, the usual suspects, foldables, flagships, some forgotten mid-rangers, and tucked in the corner was the Pixel 9 Pro. I hadn't touched it in a while. I've been bouncing through devices, testing what's new, but with the Pixel 10 right around the corner, I thought what better time to dust it off and see how it's actually aged. So I swapped my SIM, rebooted it, and decided to live with it for a bit. No gimmicks, no nostalgia filter, just real-world use. So after spending the past stretch of days diving back in, I've got a lot to say. Some things impressed me more than they did at launch. Others, not so much. This is my long-term review with the Pixel 9 Pro, the smartphone that's smarter than you remember. The first thing I noticed wasn't the AI, it wasn't the camera, it was actually the display. I stepped outside, middle of the afternoon, sun bouncing off every car hood, and the screen was still completely visible. That 3000 nits of brightness isn't just a number, it's a flex. Add in a 120Hz refresh rate and the pixel dense LTPO panel, and suddenly I remembered what it actually felt like to enjoy using a phone outside again. Then the AI kicked in. I was editing a photo I shot the day before, the background was cluttered, the lighting was off, so I tapped the magic editor, moved around a few elements, boosted the sky, and just like that, the shot looked professionally retouched. No app switching, no deep Photoshop knowledge, just AI doing its thing. And that's been the theme with this phone, quiet helpfulness. The recorder app is insanely accurate. I used it to transcribe an interview in a Starbucks and it nailed every word. And Gemini is like having a smart assistant who doesn't overtalk. If you need a summary, a reminder, or a quick rewrite, it's already done. Now, I don't use every AI feature. Stuff like add me in photos isn't really my thing, but the ones that I do use, I rely on them often. Then we have the cameras, which even now holds its own against phones twice the price. It's not the oversaturated style you get on Samsung smartphones. It's not the auto beauty mode you get on an iPhone. It's natural, it's clean, it's real. The 5x telephoto is genuinely usable, not just a spec. Macro mode is great for those tiny detail shots, and the low light performance, Google is still the benchmark. What I also appreciated coming back to the Pixel was the size. Not every phone needs to be a two-handed tablet. This thing sits perfectly well in my hands, it's light, it's sleek, and with the flat edges, that makes it feel even more intentional. Coming from bigger phones like the S25 Ultra or the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the Pixel felt like slipping into a more comfortable pair of shoes, ones that actually fit. Now, the longer I used the Pixel 9 Pro again, the more I remembered one key thing. This phone isn't trying to be the fastest, and sometimes it shows. Day to day, it's smooth. I didn't run into any lag or overheating. Tensor G4 actually held up way better than I expected. But there is a ceiling. Open up a heavy app, jump into a game, or try editing videos on the fly, and you'll still feel that it's not quite the same level as the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 or Apple Silicon. That said, for most people, it's good enough. The issue really isn't the performance though, it's the charging. Google claims 45 watts wired charging, but unless you're using the exact right cable and the right brick, you'll probably get closer to 37 watts, and you will feel that. There were days where I forgot to charge overnight and I woke up at 15% and only had 20 minutes before heading out. I plugged it in and yeah, not much happened. That quick top-up moment, the one that you rely on, it's just not there. Battery life though is solid. I'm getting around 6 hours of screen on time, and that gets me through a full days of use, even with 5G on and camera use. But this isn't a 2-day phone. It's a you better charge it tonight phone. Another thing I noticed, though this one's more of a memory than a current issue, is the connectivity. When I first used the phone after launch, I did have a few drop calls. Nothing since then, so maybe a firmware update fixed it, but it was a reminder that early Pixel bugs are still sometimes a thing. Alright, now let's talk about the quirks. The little things that don't seem like a big deal until they are. First up is the image processing. Now, I personally love Google's color science. It's natural, true to life, and doesn't overdo it. But not everyone wants that. There were some moments where I snap a sunset or a food picture and think this looks kind of flat. Not because the photo was bad, but because we're so used to Samsung's eye candy colors or iPhone's overly polished look. Sometimes I had to resist the urge to throw on a filter just to compete with other phones' default style. Then there's the charging. Yeah, I know I mentioned it, but it actually affects how you use the phone. If you're used to quick bursts of charge while getting ready or topping off between meetings, you'll feel the difference. It does slow you down. Wireless charging is also a little picky. It works great on Google's Pixel stand, but I've had issues with a few third-party pads, misalignments, slower speeds, and in one case, no charging at all unless I repositioned it. And finally, voice typing with Gemini. It's better than ever, no question. It's fast, it's responsive, and super handy for responding on the go. But if you speak casually, like mid-sentence pauses, filler words, or slang, it sometimes misses a nuance. you still have to proofread it, so no, it's not a complete replacement for typing yet. Alright, let's shift our focus to talk about a smartwatch I've been testing all week, the KOSPET Magic R10. This watch looks way more premium than you'd expect for under $200. We're talking a stainless steel bezel, AMOLED display with 1000 nits of brightness, and even Corning Gorilla Glass. This smartwatch is built tough, but it still looks super clean on your wrist. And it's not just a pretty face. The R10 is packed with features you'd find on a much more expensive watch, like dual band GPS, over 180 sports mode, and pro-grade health tracking with a new 4PD sensor for better accuracy, even on darker skin tones or during intense workouts. You've got Bluetooth calling, music playback, smart notifications, and a battery that lasts up to 12 days. Everything syncs with the Apex Move app, which works on both iOS and Android. And here's a nice touch. You can easily switch up the style with a band like this. This is the Archland leather strap, and this looks so good. So it looks just as good as the gym as it does at dinner. So if you want a watch that actually keeps up with your lifestyle, check out the KOSPET Magic R10. Link is in my description. So here's the question I've been asking myself all week. Would I actually recommend upgrading to this phone now, with the Pixel 10 right around the corner? If you're on a Pixel 8 Pro, the honest answer is maybe not. You'll get refinements, better thermals, a brighter screen, slightly more efficient AI tools, but not a night to day upgrade. But if you're on the Pixel 7 or earlier, or coming from a non-Pixel device entirely, yeah, this thing is worth considering. It honestly feels like the most complete Pixel Google's ever made. Everything from the fingerprint sensor to the photo processing to the on-device AI has been smoothed out. It's not flashy, but it's dependable, and I think that matters more than we give credit for. So coming back to the Pixel 9 Pro after months of jumping between phones felt like going from fast fashion to something that's actually tailored. Sure, it doesn't have every feature under the sun. It won't win benchmark tests or make your jaws drop with 120 watts charging, but it's thoughtful. It's smart in a way that isn't loud, and that, my friends, is rare. The AI here isn't just marketing, it's genuinely useful. The cameras still punch well above their weight class, and the size, for me, it's perfect. But it's not for everyone. If you're a spec chaser, a mobile gamer, or someone who can't stand slow charging, this might test your patience. For the rest of us, the people who want something clean, consistent, and just plain smart, the Pixel 9 Pro is still one of the best phones you can buy. What I've come to realize is this: the Pixel 9 Pro isn't trying to impress you with its flash, it's trying to support you with function. It's the quiet friend in your pocket that's always ready. Whether it's cleaning up your photos, helping you write an email, or just identifying a song playing in a coffee shop. And I think in a world of loud phones with loud features, having something that just works and works well is massively underrated. So would I daily this again full time? Honestly, yes I would. And I might just do that after this video. I'd give this phone a solid 8.7 out of 10. And nearly an year later, the Pixel 9 Pro still feels like one of the smartest smartphones of the year. With the Pixel 10 just weeks away, is the Pixel 9 Pro still worth it in 2025? Honestly, yeah, especially if you can get it on a deal. You're still getting one of the best Android cameras, a top-tier display, and AI tools most phones don't have, even the newer ones. The only real downside is the charging speed and the raw power, but if you're not gaming or benchmarking every day, you probably won't care. If you're on a Pixel 7 or older, this is still a huge upgrade. If you're on an iPhone or a Samsung and you want to try something smarter, this might surprise you. And with 7 years of updates guaranteed, you'll be set for a while. So let me know if you're thinking about grabbing the Pixel 9 Pro on a deal, or are you holding out for the Pixel 10? Let me know down in the comments. And if this video helped you out, hit that like button, drop a sub, and stay tuned for the Pixel 10 Pro. As always, if you guys made it to the end of this video, drop a dolphin emoji down in the comments below. I would love to know who my true supporters are. I'll catch you guys on the next one, and don't forget to flex with your tech. This phone is kind of amazing, bro.